Welcome to the 100. If you don't know, I did 17 years in prison, and this page is just dedicated to that journey, that experience, the stories of others. But we end up talking about a whole lot of other stuff too, man. We talk about relationships and what's going on in the streets and just whatever people are getting into, man. Thank thank you for joining the 100 TV. We're live. And if we're not live, then that just means you tapped in with the recording, which that's dope too, man. We appreciate the support. Make sure you hit that like button, that notification buzzer, all that good stuff, so you know when we're going live. Make sure also that you tell a friend. We're growing. We're trying to hit 1,000, road to 1K, man. We've been working. I say we because it's more than just me. It's been a team. Shout out to Monique Jacinia, who has been in the background just campaigning and motivating me, amongst others, man. Shout out to, I don't even know where to start. KT on deck. Recently met him at an event, networking panel that I was able to be a part of here at Six Lounge in Atlanta. Yo. What up? Peace. The event was dope. Got an opportunity to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of cool personalities. And let me say this, networking is essential. Networking is key. So shout out to KT. We actually just had another conversation on Monday, trying to figure some things out. Shout out to I Am Chelsea Speaks, owner of TKO 101 Radio. She's coming to my school on the 9th, and hopefully I can get her locked into this health and healing day I got going on up there too. On the 29th, shout out to Real and Explicit, who's going to be up here November 9th. She's an artist, man. She's got a following, really dope personality, and she knows a lot about the music industry, what's really going on with that, the certain things that people face. And a lot of people want to know, man, especially with what's going on. The music industry is always in the news recently, unfortunately, not for good reasons. Rest in peace to Takeoff. A very popular rapper here in Atlanta where I live. Rest in peace to every rapper. Rest in peace to everybody, man, that seems to be losing their life far too soon. So the music industry's got its dark sides, just like social media, internet, but it's got its bright sides too, right? So you're gonna get to see a little bit of what she's talking about. Learn some things. I learned some things, and shout out to BK Exotics too, A&R at Sony and Empire. Learned a lot, and in about an hour conversation, and then stuck around for maybe 15 minutes after that. So anybody that's watching this, make sure you're networking. If you see things for networking events in your city or where you live, go. Especially if they're free, just go. You don't know who's going to be in the room, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to meet some people that are trying to get some things done. Today, I'm getting into a reaction video. My man Sabir is actually up here. I'm going to get him probably on the next one with me, man. We're going to do like an ESPN in the zone type thing. But today, I'm doing a reaction video. A lot of people have been asking me to start doing these. I've just been trying to figure out the computer or the workstation or whatever. I recently just got another one. Trying to figure out how to stream everything. I'm getting it done. Thank you, YouTube. So today we're going to stream our first video, and it's talking about prison. I haven't really seen any more than about 30 seconds of it, so it's my first time. I did do 17 years in prison, so I'm doing this for educational purposes because I want to educate anybody that might be or narrate certain points, anybody that might come across this, because it's real. Definitely don't want you to go down the path that I did. That's all I'm gonna say. Other than that, shout out to each and every one of you that continues to support the content day in and day out. It's been a journey. It's gonna continue to be one. Anybody that's building something, anybody that's putting something together, never forget it's gonna take time. You're gonna have to adjust a lot. You're gonna have to make some moves. That's all I'm gonna say. Bringing this video up, man. We're gonna get straight into it. Let's check it out. Like I said, I seen about 30 seconds of it. I'm kind of excited doing this. Let's go.
Santa Rita Jail near Oakland, California is the 5th largest in America. Jail can be a world of violent gangs, hundreds of cliques that bring rivalries and vendettas from the streets behind bars.
Here, San Mateo, some Daniel gangster, you know what I'm saying?
For many, life is making a...
I'm gonna say this all top. I was in Virginia when I was locked up. There in Cali, I can already see there's gonna be some major differences. They were throwing up whatever they was throwing up. They definitely had gangs in VA. I think there's gangs probably in any system, but obviously I feel the further out west, especially if you're going to a place like Cali, it's gonna be super intense. Way more intense possibly than it was in VA.
Choice: join a gang or live without protection.
You've got to know somebody, because if you're out there by yourself, there are sharks watching you left and right.
Jail becomes a proving ground where old-time gangsters teach youngsters the ropes.
Just mostly respect your race. You always try to stick with your race.
Trying to stay a step ahead of these gangsters is the jail's gang unit, working to keep the peace in a world fraught with hidden danger.
The majority of them probably do have weapons right now.
They've got
it could be just a small razor blade stuck in the side of the cheek. It could be anything.
It's a constant battle for control between the deputies.
But let me tell you something about the gang unit experience for me in VA. They did not really know what they were talking about because they got all their information from the jailhouse snitches, the informants or whatever. And half the time they didn't know what they were talking about. But anyways, maybe we'll do a whole episode up here about that.
And the prison gangs.
Oh, so this is all about...
This morning, in the staff muster room at Santa Rita Jail, deputies are arming themselves with flak jackets and non-lethal weapons, all in preparation for a shakedown. Just hours earlier, a deputy was attacked by an inmate.
So evidently, they're getting ready to go on... No, they're on lockdown. Deputy was attacked by somebody who was locked up on a prison, and they locked everything down. Now they're gearing up. They're getting the squad ready to go shake everybody down. See what they're talking about.
We're going to be going out to, starting out with Housing 33. We're going to be doing a shakedown in that housing unit.
We did have a deputy that was assaulted this morning, as you guys know. We're just going to go back down there and reestablish some control. And
when the deputy gets assaulted in prison or in jail, it's the equivalent of... whatever.
The assault happened in the early morning hours. During a routine transfer, an inmate saw his opportunity and struck. Jail is a world where violence is a constant threat. In cases like this, the response must be swift, measured, and decisive. And when deputies head out into general population, they have to be prepared. Inmates may resist or fight back.
Been in a few of those. Not by choice. Just want to say I have been in a few of those. The gas is
each situation is different, and the jail must respond with the appropriate force and numbers.
And they shot him with the... Oh.
In the case of shakedowns, the element of surprise is key.
East side, gentlemen, I need everybody on your feet. Do not go to your drawers.
So that's a shakedown. It's probably early in the morning. They were probably still asleep.
Searches like these are a fixture of life here at Santa Rita Jail. But when a deputy is attacked, everything becomes more intense, and even the slightest show of defiance can get an inmate handcuffed.
Turn around. Put your hand behind your back. Stop. Let's go.
The deputies search every cell and turn over every bunk. Their aim is to find contraband,
and
like
they
weapons,
tear all your
drugs,
shit up.
And alcohol. Already the search is getting results. They uncover dozens of containers of homemade alcohol called Pruno.
I was a bad man in the system. My first shout out to Kentucky. Hopefully he's doing well. Kentucky taught me how to make wine as my first hustle. Came into Sussex too. Didn't know anything about anything other than I needed to get a job in the kitchen because I needed to eat. And I knew if you got in the kitchen, I could eat. But then he was like, hey, you can steal the stuff for the wine. I was like, damn, you're right. So he was already making it. I'm in the kitchen. I worked in the trade room. I would get brown sugar, oranges, whatever, you know, that we needed. I would smuggle it out through the window. He'd carry it out the chow hall. Hopefully he didn't get caught. And every time he would start giving me, you know, a gallon of wine here, a gallon of wine there, paying me packs of cigarettes for getting the supplies. And then he was like, man, I'm going to teach you. And when he taught me, my first batch, I was pretty good, man. And everybody was, you know, enjoying themselves. And I was like, oh, I can make money by doing this. Like, as far as prison goes, back then that was money. Because I could make 4 gallons at a time and sell a gallon for a carton, you know. So it's good money back in the day, man. As far as prison. I don't know what that's hitting for over there, though.
Throw some sugar in there and apple juice, and then just tighten it up, and it just starts fermenting. It's the catalyst for a lot of fights. People start drinking, and they get that liquid courage, and then a lot of fights break out.
It's not how you make it, but it's kind of how you make it. Not really.
However, if you're going to be that housing unit that today you're going to threaten our staff, well, we move you to the top of the list. And today, they threaten our staff. Based on an assault that took place this morning, we move them to the top of the list.
That'll do it.
More than 150 inmates will be searched today, yielding gallons of alcohol. But the fight for control here is never ending, driven by one simple fact.
Small
This
razor
is the
blade
5th
for
largest
shaving.
jail in America. Alameda County's Santa Rita Jail near Oakland houses 4,000 inmates.
That's a jail?
18 housing units stretch the length of the sprawling facility. A
Oh,
full
is that what
half
they call
mile
it?
from end to end.
A half mile.
There are 2 wings. The east side has protective custody units and minimum security dorms that house more than 300 inmates. On the west side, maximum security inmates are housed in double-bunked cells, and administrative segregation units hold problem inmates on lockdown 23 hours a day. As many as 60,000 inmates
Like
pass
that
through here
PTSD
each
right here.
year, creating an ever-changing inmate population, and the threat of violence is always present. Heightening that threat is a stark reality. 40% of Santa Rita's inmates come from Oakland, and Oakland has a serious gang problem.
Black down in the East Bay.
A barrage of bullets.
Another deadly shooting in Oakland.
We got the 9.
The gangs here have contributed to a violent stretch in Oakland. More than 100 murders 4 years running, and over 22,000 violent crimes. It all adds up to a steady stream of fresh arrests, headed straight to Santa Rita.
Might be worse now.
The streets of Oakland set the tone here, and roughly half of the inmates have gang affiliations, and often bring vendettas and rivalries with them from the street.
Every time.
Keeping control means constant vigilance that begins the moment inmates walk through the door. Deputy Terry
not enough
Carson is
cameras in
working
the
at the
world.
intake area, known as
I don't
ITR.
care. 4,000 inmates. They've probably got.
Charged with any assaults on the police.
I don't even
On
know.
other inmates.
I don't know. Somebody put in the
Carson
comments. I want to
interviews
say
inmates to
100
determine their
staff
criminal
total.
past, what sort of
Maybe.
crime they're charged
Cameras.
with, and what threat they might pose to other inmates. The information is used to classify inmates, and here in Santa Rita Jail, they are color-coded accordingly. Inmates given blue jumpsuits are considered medium security, posing a low threat. Yellow is given to those with heavy charges or a history of violence behind bars.
Terrorist threats. Okay. Each one of these represents the year that you did in prison.
Red means an inmate is headed to protective custody or administrative segregation.
You remember what the case was at Central State Prison?
Yeah. What was it? Battery, domestic assault, attempted murder.
And when you were in San Quentin, how many points did you have?
I made it level 4.
You made level 4.
It is classification born out of necessity, an attempt to keep the peace.
It's that big wall 3 homeboy that you knew. Barrio Pobre, Sureños, 831, Costa Central.
With so many gang members at Santa Rita, making sure rivals are separated is key.
You see somebody that's opposite, say Sereno or Norteño, opposite of you. If you're Sereno, you better get off on that Norteño. That's all there is to it. That's the politics. And if you don't, we're going to do something to you.
But new tensions between gangs can heat up at any minute. So the jail has created a special unit to track the ever-changing gang world. Terry Carson is part of the team, and so is Mark Schlegel. Together they make up the Gang Classification Unit, and their office wall is lined with one of the keys to understanding the gang world: coded artwork.
I gotta stop this. I wanted to let it rock for a minute, but listen, y'all, they only know what you tell them. I want to start off by saying that. I don't, hey, it's each his own, right? But I just know back in the day, everything was committed to memory. Because they couldn't take your mind. Well, not in that sense. But when guys are putting things on paper, they're trying to get through shakedowns, and then they get tore off with the stuff, and then they wonder why them and all their homeboys and everybody else, starts getting picked off, sent to the hole, transferred, etc. Just saying.
You have a Kumi 415 over here. This is the Hells Angels, West Oakland. Oh, you got X4 Norte.
Hidden in the drawings are important clues of affiliation, of rivalries, and of potential conflict. It's all part of a story that translates to the history written on the inmates themselves. Tattoos.
They're gonna take pictures of all your tattoos when you come through.
You'll see the same type of artwork on their skin. So they tell me a story. 14th letter of the alphabet, which is N, which stands for Norte. You'll also see 14 on white supremacist guys, but that means totally different. These guys don't.
You see how he's just comfortably just breaking down all their stuff. I'm just that should not be happening. But anyways, again, not my lifestyle, but hey, know what's going on when you're dealing with something. I'm gonna say that.
Put this stuff on a piece of paper or on their bodies without a reason or a story behind it.
Decoding the story may be vital to keeping the peace here behind bars, but the gang unit serves an even greater purpose. They are building a record of each gang member, one that will follow them to prison or back out onto the streets. It's valuable intelligence that gets shared with corrections and police alike. But the challenge for the gang unit is daunting.
And they got a database that goes nationwide.
California. And on any given day, behind the walls of Santa Rita, many of them are represented.
You got Border Brothers, you got everybody, Pisces, blacks, whites.
If enemies are housed together, violence will follow. And right now, in Maximum Housing Unit 6, is a graphic reminder of that reality. Crime scene cleanup is already here, removing the remnants of a violent fight that started just hours earlier.
Split. Got the hazmat suit on.
Just opened the doors for dinner feeding. An inmate ran down here from cell 14, entered the cell, attacked the other inmate, had a razor blade attached to a short piece of plastic, tried to slice him on the facial area.
The injured inmates have been taken to medical, where the attacker may face charges for assault. It's still unclear whether the fight was gang-related.
Cut him. I don't miss it. I don't miss nothing about it.
Just like the bottom floor. I still don't get the dice though.
The unit is under constant pressure to get it right, to decode thousands of pieces of intelligence and gang writings.
It's blood, but it's blood. Four drops of blood. Yeah, but it's a 1 and a 3. Yeah. So that's could be serranium. Could be read into anyway.
The challenge: identify the new rivals and separate them before things get violent. Santa Rita Jail, near Oakland in California, is the 5th largest in America. It's populated by some of California's most violent
Is that really a jail, or do they call it a prison?
Managing 4,000 inmates is all about establishing control.
4,000?
It's 3 a.m. on Friday night, and C-Team is working its overnight
Maybe it is a
shift.
jail. You got guys in street clothes walking around. 4,000 people? Well,
roughly 60 arrests have come in tonight to be printed, tagged, and processed.
4,000 plus jail. Never heard of it. But they say it's 5th largest in the country.
Late in the shift, Deputy John White and the rest of the team are still on alert in an area where anything can happen.
I wonder if they do my clothes. That's a
This
random
is
thought
intake,
from 20
transfer,
years
and
ago.
release, known as ITR, and it's where arrestees become inmates.
We're real
I had a Raiders jersey.
Portion of ITR.
It was in
We
the
found
Super
anything
Bowl
from
when I got
narcotics,
locked up.
Knives, guns.
Rich Gannon.
We found everything in these cells after they leave them.
The mood is always
black
tense,
jeans and
but
some
tonight
black and
has
white
gone
British
smoothly.
knights.
But as every deputy knows, the later it gets, the greater the chance for trouble.
And a hat. The LA hat. Somebody took my fit, man. That's the worst feeling.
We're roughly 10 hours into our shift right now. Every minute, every second, you have to be attentive to all your surroundings.
Around the corner in the pat-down area, that vigilance pays off when an inmate makes a move at a deputy.
See? Probably
the response
drunk.
is quick, measured, and designed to make one point clear.
Or
This is
mental
jail.
health, off the or
You
just
have
don't
set
want
the
to be
tone
there.
because they come across and they're not fully acclimated to being in custody. They don't realize they are not in control anymore. This is an individual that came across, he's intoxicated. They came across, we attempted to search him. He became combative. So for our safety and for his safety, we went ahead and we restrained him, brought him back to the back. It happens every night.
Don't kick me, dude.
The alcohol does funny things to people, and unfortunately, this is where they usually end up.
This inmate will sober up in a back tank of ITR. By night, it's a quiet corner for problem inmates. But in the morning, the mood changes radically as ITR transforms into the bustling hub of the jail. There are more than 30 tanks here, and on average, 400 inmates move through here each day. On busy days, that number goes as high as 600. Every inmate on their way to and from court, headed off to prison, being processed or released, comes through these halls.
Gentlemen, make room. We'll be leaving shortly.
Control is key here, but can prove difficult in an area where the deputies are outnumbered.
You've got, anywhere from 8 to 12 people on a shift working down here, but at any given time you could be working with up to 300 inmates.
That's what I'm saying. The numbers.
That means it's the last bus before count goes up.
I don't want to say that control
So
is
let's
an
get it
illusion.
done.
I don't want to say
Noise
that,
check
but I do want to say
With so many inmates to keep track of, on busy days the system backs up. That can create tension, especially in the larger tanks, known as the bullpen. Typically there are less than 20 detainees in here. When deputies fall behind, that number rises, and the bullpen heats up.
On a hot day in the middle of July, you open the door and it's literally like a sauna hits you in the face. You can feel the moisture in the air.
It's kind of like when you open up your oven at home after you've cooked something. I mean, the more bodies that are in the tanks, obviously, the hotter it gets in there, the more talking going on, and tempers tend to kind of flare sometimes.
Random people in there.
And you just sit in there, it get hot. The vents start blowing hot air. It's stanky. People.
You don't know who's who. You don't know who's rocking with who.
Somebody say something. There it go. Boom. It's like fire to gasoline. That's all it takes. You feel me?
Look at that.
Open holding tanks are used at jails across the country. With a mixture of inmates all on edge, the atmosphere is tense and flare-ups are imminent. Away from the deputy's view, fights can break out at any moment and escalate as other inmates within the tanks become involved.
Why? They
Stand
jump.
by, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
The ever-present threat of fights keeps the pressure on the ITR staff. Inmates can't avoid the bullpen, so it's vital that the deputies get them out or back to the cell houses fast.
Does everybody know the rules?
As the day comes to an end, Deputy Scott Brandon moves more than 60 inmates back to the units.
Right shoulder, right wall, single file line. The second
It's a lot of new people in the blocks.
Shut up.
With the
You don't know
inmates
what they done
unshackled,
did,
there's
who
one
did
basic
something
goal:
else.
keep them moving.
You want to kind of keep them going in the same direction with a minimal amount of distraction. So if you can get them moving all in the same direction that looks like somewhat of a straight line, then to me you're doing your job and you're getting it done. Because the whole goal is not to get into a fight with everybody you see. It can't run like that. And the long and short of it is these aren't children, these are grown men. So they're gonna act the way they're gonna act.
For inmates, leaving ITR marks the end
Everybody's
of a long
definitely
day.
gonna act
But for those
ultimately how they're
returning to
gonna
cell
act.
houses like 34, the stress
They're
is
gonna
just
make the
beginning.
Talk and get you talk some gators, close the book. Won't you take a closer look? Close casket pressure cook. And I'm the peer pressure that your teacher talking about. Toss go off the tier to teach him not to run his mouth. And I'ma run with it.
There are 328 inmates here, the maximum allowed, and just 2 deputies overseeing them all. During free time like this, known as pod time, it's loud, crowded, and governed by a code
Hey, see
set
the
by the
thing, man.
inmates
Hit the
themselves.
table and rap.
Inmates like Chris Card.
It's supposed to respect your race, you always try to stick with your race, you know what I mean? In this particular pile, we got the black hole where we sitting at. From this bunk on down, we try to keep it all African Americans, and toward the middle, the other diversities, they break up into different sects, you know what I mean?
It's a separation that is stark and visible throughout the cell house, a racially divided world that inmates believe promotes the peace. Yet the racial divide here hides a more deep-seated separation. In this dorm, as with most cell houses here, the gangs are watching. Every table, every staircase, every phone is territory to be marked and held, much of it claimed by the dominant gang, the Norteños, who have their own bylaws and codes, rules followed by former gang members.
So what he's saying is basically, if there's 4 phones in the block, 4 different gangs can control them, and if you don't fall up on one of them gangs, you might not be able to call your family. That's what he's saying. I've seen and heard things where they said people couldn't even get in the shot, like they was extorting tax in showers, phones, bringing commissary in the pod, microwaves, everything. So when it's thick like that, you're gonna definitely have activity like that because everybody's hungry.
Like Lucky.
Everybody has a role, okay? It's like a body, you know? Like everyone has a role in the gang. Everybody does. Because no matter if you're way up here or way down here, you're still contributing something. Say that there's a cell right here, okay? And this door opens 27 times a day. My job is to be in this cell and watch that door. And I jot down every time that door opens. Okay? That's my job. I'm part of something. I am doing something. When you're in a gang, in a Norteño gang setting, it's by law you work out. If you don't, you will be disciplined and you'll be dealt with accordingly. That's the way it is.
The gangs and codes
they're making sure they're war ready,
making it both a jail and a recruitment
ground.
They
war ready.
Though inmates claim that segregation keeps the peace, fights do break out.
It also can be
when this
used
happens, it's each race and each gang for themselves.
Me, my understanding, all my we gonna rock. If it go down, we gonna rock. Ain't no hands down, no question about nothing, man. If it kick off, man, we finna get on top of your helmet, man. Straight up, take no prisoners, cause you ain't about to, I'm not finna go home in no bag.
Lock down, fellas. Let's go, fellas, lock down.
After 3 hours, pod time comes to an end, and the inmates head back to their cells. The deputies walk through each of the tanks, where 36 men are double bunked behind mesh for the night. They confirm that all are present and accounted for, and perform a final spot check for any contraband. In dorms like 34, the numbers are heavily in favor of the inmates. So for them, lockdown means the night is just beginning, and it's time for a cell house party, a feast of food purchased from the jail, complete with homemade alcohol.
We can't let the police see this right here, man. This right here, man, knock you on your real good. Tonight we make the gumbo, oysters, chicken, tuna, rice. We all put it, you know, I mean, we eat like kings in here.
That's crazy because
the city of Oakland, California, has one of America's highest crime rates, with more than 100 murders in each of the past 3 years.
Police are investigating Oakland's third
murder
of the weekend.
40% of Santa Rita's inmates come from Oakland, and many of them are in gangs. It's the first stop for the accused on their way to trial. But with thousands of repeat offenders coming through the door each year, it also serves.
Let that cycle through really quick. I don't know what it's doing. Intermission. But after 17 years of prison while I'm watching this, I can tell you, hands down, this gives me PTSD.
All the different types of exercises they got going on, and
this is running my anxiety up because
positioned in certain places to keep an eye out of what's going on. You know, if you look down there, you see a guy.
Not saying, you know,
standing by them
that was my experience,
how he's standing there with his back to them guys
I've been
working
through
out.
things and
He's
I'm
standing
watching this. I'm like, oh.
The yard is all about territory, Different gangs carving up their own sections, their own turf. Norteños control the handball courts, black gangs rule the basketball court, and other Latinos on the volleyball court. The yard has a strict set of rules set by group leaders.
You have every faction out there. You have Black, BGF, Blood, Crip. You got the Northerners and the Southerners. You got Whites. I don't want to deal with nobody else, no other race. They're not going to get in my way. You're not going to step on my game. You know, that's it. You stay on your side of the grounds. I stay on mine. You cross my ground, it's over. You know, I will kick the yard off. I don't care.
The rigid structure can be seen almost everywhere. And in a jail dominated by gangs, going it alone seems a difficult option.
You've got to run with somebody, okay? Because sooner or later, you're gonna get caught up in a situation where who are you gonna turn to? Yourself, you know? Because if you're out there by yourself, there are sharks watching you left and right. They're gonna come and try to use you.
Always watching. Somebody's always sizing you up, the situation.
That's how it works.
And these guys,
yeah, what you have, what you may have, I agree with them. Somebody's always watching.
A small razor blade stuck in the side of their cheek, or it could be, you know, a toothbrush that's sharpened down in their sock. It could be anything.
The threat of violence is just one part of life on the yard. For inmates headed for serious time, the yard is also a proving ground, and the lessons learned here are carried forward to prison, where the stakes are even higher. Many of California's most infamous prison yards are dominated by hardened gangs.
The prison yard is the most political, violent. Look at that. They stabbed him. Whole riot just jumped off.
Even in this seemingly chaotic environment, the rules of engagement are strict and clear.
Whoever's having the issues against each other, their channel or their shot caller will come and let you know, hey, back the up for a while, we're going to go get off. If you want to get involved, let us know. You have to know who's who over or who's helping who out to know when it's going to jump off. But you can pretty much tell. I mean,
you got to be on point.
You'll see the grouping up. You'll see everybody getting in
see the movement.
And then next you know, it's mayhem.
This riot at California's Pelican Bay prison probably started after tensions built between rival gangs. The conflict lasted for more than half an hour as corrections officers tried to regain control. In the end, more than 20 inmates were injured.
The threat is always there.
Nobody sees.
You know, you can walk past some guy and look at him just like, you know, the sun be in your eyes, and you look at him with your eyes like, you know, and then he'll run up on you. What the hell are you looking at? Nothing. Oh, I'm not nothing. So, you know,
I've seen things like that.
Effect of, you know, you're just saying the wrong things.
Matter of fact, I probably got into an argument like that.
The constant threat of violence has created a surprising shift. Gang members behind bars are turning their backs on gangster life.
Business,
They're called dropouts.
He locked up
in protective custody here at Santa Rita. And Brian Curlis is one of them. Leaving gang life behind is no easy task. Curlis is in on a parole violation and is waiting for his sentence, which could mean a return to prison.
Man.
He has a coveted job as a pod worker, but his criminal record makes him a 3 strikes candidate, meaning a new charge could get him a life sentence. And as a former
he left
gang
the
member,
gang, which means he's going to run straight into them dudes again. Or he's going to be in PC.
It's like now, I'm a worker here. I tell people straight up, if you don't like the way I'm doing something, here's where I live. Come and see me at breakfast, you know? I don't have no problem with it. But at the same time, I don't want to get in a fight because I'm a 3-strike candidate, you know?
Right.
It's like, I don't know.
Curlis is walking a fine line. One slip could land him behind bars for 25 years to life. Santa Rita Jail holds criminals from some of Oakland's most dangerous gangs. For gang members, cell houses and yards are a harsh training ground where the inmates are indoctrinated into the gang code. For the deputies, keeping the peace is a never-ending challenge that requires more than just watching over the inmates. It requires constant surveillance and vigilance. And today, in Dorm 32, deputies Carson and Schlegel of the gang unit are following up on some fresh intelligence.
Time for pod time. Pod time. Lower tiers, stay off the carpet. Upper tiers, stay off the stairs. Once all the doors are closed, I'll flash the lights. Again, this is pod time.
Apparently, about a week ago, from the information we're getting, they removed some guys that had a lot of say in this pod for the Northern Hispanics. They were taken out. And during that time, you have a void there, so there's always going to be a little power struggle within the group to say who's going to step up and call the shots.
Sir.
In the rigid gang structure behind bars, the shot caller is the one in charge. He runs the dawn, decides who fights who, but he also keeps the peace. Without him, even more fights could break out. So the gang unit is trying to figure out who is stepping up next. Figuring that out can be tough.
If it's not a direct shot caller, there's always somebody around.
One of the things that they do as leaders is to help train everybody else that's coming in here, or make sure that people understand, the structure in there. This is a county jail. When you're in the county jail, it's not like we're in prison where people are in there for years at a time. They're in for short periods of time, and so there's a lot of turnover, and there's a lot of people coming and going.
That constant turnover is one of the key challenges to keeping control here. Santa Rita sees nearly 60,000 inmates each year from all over Alameda County, so rivals from the street can easily end up housed next to each other, and that can spell trouble.
And
Just
that's
as
the
jail
thing.
is constantly looking to classify any incoming gang
When you
members,
go to jail,
the gangs
you might thought the
themselves
beef
have
was
their own
over 2
strict
years ago because you got
classification
locked up and
process.
you run into him
And
in the
just
jail.
like the jail, it begins from the moment an inmate walks into a new cell house.
When they come in, they have to check in, and when they check in, they have to give, from the time they
Or you
started coming
people
into
with
custody,
somebody's
the first
people
crime
out
that they
there,
ever
anything.
committed to up until now, they have to list each and every crime that they committed, where they went, where they stayed, what state prison they were in, who their cellie was, and all that stuff. So they have to have that track record there. It's like writing up their resume.
These gang resumes are compiled on
It
notes
wasn't like
of the
that
key
in
means of
VA.
communication between the gang
Well, I
members.
never had that experience.
The
so
writing
maybe
on the
it
note
was,
is
but I
tiny,
never had that
called micro-writing, and some get moved throughout the facility and checked out for intelligence on new inmates.
Information flows from one end of this facility to the other end of the facility on a daily basis. And the reason why it does that, in our central location, my point is, if they want to get information out, they can put it on laundry carts, they can put it on our food carts, and go back to our kitchen area, which our minimum
Get
inmates work.
information
If
there.
they want to get information for, say, Housing Unit 7, then the worker can go out there and put it onto a food cart or a laundry cart.
Yeah.
It's an underground background check. A poll taken of the inmates in the jail to see whether a new arrival checks out and can be trusted. If a new gang member checks out, he assumes his role in the gang structure. If the information doesn't check out,
So they
the
screen
consequences
them with a
can be
bunch of
severe.
questions.
And over in
Check
the
his
Mustang,
jacket,
for the
might
maximum
call out
security side of
anything.
the jail, a unit is gathering
He
for an
basically might gotta get
urgent
some
mission.
character references just to be able to live in there.
A deputy
and if it
has
goes
intercepted
wrong,
a note that contains hints that there's a
If it goes
weapon
wrong.
in Housing Unit 7. And there's additional intelligence that an attack is in the works.
One of the guys in B-Boy Pod is saying that they have a weapon, one RB constructed into a tomahawk. We're assuming RB is a razor blade. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking for. It could have been passed from B, obviously anywhere in the house. We're going to do A, B, and C pod as a search.
In addition to rumors of a weapon in the dorm, the note lists the names of some norteños housed there.
I have a list here, A, B, and C pod of some of the Norteño known and just known affiliates.
This door
They got
is
their
the
whole
target
roster.
for today's raid. Finding the weapon is the mission.
It could be tucked in a book, could be anywhere. It could be a mattress that's sliced open, stuck in the foam, anywhere. So we want to make sure we do a good job, especially with the Northerner cells. We'll just go in, do our job, get it done.
That's crazy.
The team moves out to Housing Unit 7, where the inmates are already on lockdown. When the deputies arrive, the water is shut off to prevent anything from being flushed down the toilets.
It's the first thing they do. That's how you know. Somebody will go flush the toilet and it won't flush, and they'll be like, "Uh-oh, lockdown," or they'll knock next door and be like, "Yo, flush your toilet, don't flush." So
Getting
you
all the
already know.
inmates out of their
It's
cells
lockdown.
before they have a chance to destroy
Your water
evidence.
gonna get killed first.
Pull your shirt down. Pull your shirt down.
Then they gonna take you
Those who
out to a
buck the
common
system
area.
are immediately removed. Once out, the inmates are patted down and then placed in holding areas as the search begins. Every cell is turned over in a search for contraband, homemade alcohol, anything that's not allowed. But the real focus is a potential weapon. And over in C-Pod, one cell is receiving special attention.
They trip off wine and all that too, don't get me wrong, but they're looking for knives.
I found some information on the guy that's housed here that he's good at making weapons. It's one of his specialties, I guess, that he called it. So this was my hopeful cell. I was hoping that it would be in here. Hopefully they didn't get rid of it.
That's crazy.
The deputy finds nothing. And throughout the rest of the cell house, the search yields contraband.
Tattoo gun.
This is a jail-made tattoo gun.
But no weapons.
Good for them.
Downstairs, they found more notes and more names.
These show people that just arrived, it looks like.
You gotta stop putting stuff on paper.
It may just be the break the team's been looking for.
Just
a deputy
like
takes the notes back to Carson and Schlegel of the gang classification unit for inspection.
This is from C-Pod.
Just like that, everybody that wasn't classified is now classified.
The fresh intelligence demands immediate attention.
Classified, these points are going up.
This is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Decoding the writing is a tedious job, but buried inside could be more important information about gang members, weapons, and even new hits.
Okay, and we know this guy.
It will take hours to pore over the micronotes. So back in Cell House 7, the search for the contraband continues, and the deputies have had a lucky break.
That's the thing about being locked up.
One of the
it'll make you think about some
cell
things.
in F-Pod, Cell 1.
And you'll figure some things out.
We understand there's a newer guy that's over there in of the
You'll
North Indian
invent some
affiliation,
things.
so we're thinking that they may have something over there as well.
The focus of the search narrows. Now, rather than searching an entire pod, the team moves in on 3 cells, and one of them is the real target. The inmates are quickly removed, and the deputies move in, checking mattresses, combing through books, but still no weapon.
They mad they can't find no weapon. I already know.
Out in the common space, a deputy spots something wedged under the television.
Here we go. Here we go.
It could be what they came here for. A blade.
Look at that.
So they fitted up to
all that
see?
for one blade, which they
The dangerous
found.
weapon is removed from Cell House 7. And for now at least, a possible gang hit is averted. Another small victory in a world where the threat of conflict is constant. Over in protective custody, Brian Curlis still marks his days at Santa Rita, trying his best to stay out of harm's way in a world of violence.
That's a bad situation there. You left the gang, went home, now you might be on
Curlis
your
is
way
on a
back.
parole violation, but has turned his back on gang life. It's a decision that makes him a constant target, even here in protective custody.
Oh, he's already in PC.
I don't think you're any
get
safer here than you are on the main line. At any time, anything you do, you know, you sit at the wrong table, you use the wrong shower, it could get you hurt.
Gang members despise dropouts. They are traitors of the highest order. That makes them targets wherever they go, especially behind bars, where gangs set the
Anywhere he
unofficial
goes,
rules. While gang initiation is often violent, getting kicked out is even worse.
Here you go. Oh!
It's called a removal, a quick but violent act where a gang member slices another in the face with a weapon. The slice leaves a permanent mark and lets other gang members know that the target is a dropout, what they call no good.
I've seen people get their face sliced open, have their ear knocked off, all the way across.
$150. They do that so other people, they won't be able to hide the fact they were disgraced.
You're hated. You're hated a lot. People literally 100% want to kill you.
By being placed in protective custody, the dropouts are already marked by the red jumpsuits they wear. So far, Curlis hasn't been attacked, but anything's possible in jail.
something you got to deal with, you know. As you get older, you get wiser. If somebody starts assaulting me, I'm going to fight back. You know, I'm going to defend myself to the fullest. You got to be stronger than the average person around here.
Curlis will soon find out his sentence. Until then, he's constantly on edge, always looking over his shoulder. Santa Rita Jail is a revolving door for some of Oakland, California's most violent gangs. An estimated 30,000 people with gang affiliations come through here each year, and deputies are always on their guard, always looking out for conflict. In intake, transfer and release, the day is just getting underway. A dozen deputies start their daily routine, moving 200 bodies through these halls.
Gentlemen, we're gonna move down to the nurse. Remember our discussion. The quicker you guys do it, everybody cooperates, you get through fast.
Terry Carson of Gang Classification is on his post at the front end of the system, screening the new intakes, trying to figure out whether they have gang affiliations and where to put them.
My man was like,
No.
super
Any
nervous.
tattoos? No tattoos. Nothing.
Might be
Nothing
straight
bad?
though.
Nothing.
Or smart.
The process of classification here is never-ending. It's a process designed to keep rival gangs separated and violence from breaking out. Despite their best efforts, clashes can happen at any time. Clashes that escalate as staff step in to break them up. Out on the maximum security wing in Housing Unit 4, a deputy has been caught in the crossfire while breaking up a fight between 3 suspected gang members. The inmates are already on lockdown as an investigation is underway, and the pod is littered with the remnants of a brawl.
The deputy got caught in the crossfire.
The deputy on duty is still shaken
Trying to break
after
up
having
a
a
fight
chair
of 3.
thrown at him.
Hey, at least it was
In
plastic.
search of the pod after the fight, all inmates were searched and jail-made weapons were located within the pod. It makes you think when you go running in there to protect these guys, if somebody's gonna stab you and or hurt you also. It could be a trap, you never know.
Occupational hazards, my friend.
In an isolation cell, the inmate who threw the chair is still being questioned.
Threw a chair. I threw a couple of chairs actually.
To protect yourself?
Yeah.
He got caught in the
The
crossfire.
deputies suspect that the fight was between rival gangs vying for power in the cell house. Since a deputy was involved, the punishment is stiff. This inmate may face new charges and more time.
That's
for a
crazy
suit.
though, because if he's throwing chairs to defend himself, like you said, keep people off him, and the deputy stepped in the way, how you gonna charge him? It sounds like they might try to give him a street charge. Another one.
New charges are something that every inmate dreads. They can mean more time behind bars.
Exactly. Either way, even if you're just going to kangaroo court, as they say, you can still get good time taken away.
Former skinhead
There's
Brian
different things that you
Curtis
do.
is trying to steer clear of getting new charges of his own. He's shipping out of Santa Rita, headed back to prison. Leaving jail behind means returning to a world where the convict code runs even deeper.
He's
As
going
a
back
gang
to
dropout,
prison as
he'll
an
face
ex-gamer.
challenges daily. But as a 3 strikes candidate, those challenges could have serious consequences.
I think they changed it since it's been
I have too much violence on my jacket to where if I even slap somebody in prison for mouthing off at me, I could do life, you know, but I'm a dropout right now. I've gotten out of it because what am I gonna do? I look back sometimes and I think to myself, man, I've screwed up. There, hold on.
Dang. That's one of the
I screwed
moments.
my kids up going through this, and it's just crazy, you know? So.
Hopefully he doesn't end up with the life sentence. The 3-strike rule
Curlis's
is crazy.
sentence is 250 days. 250 days to toe the line and steer clear of fights. If he fails,
250
it could
days
mean
to
a
stay
life
clean.
sentence.
Walk right. If I was him, I'd go straight to the hole.
The prison
Just go to
bus
the hole,
leaves, signaling the end of
Go
another
home to
day.
your family.
Back in the cell houses, the evening brings with it a familiar sight. Deputies have formed a squad and are making their way across the yard. It's another shakedown, another attempt to remind the inmates of who's in charge. The battle for control between gang members and deputies
it's a mind
never
game.
ends.
It's a mind game. I had to check that. I'm gonna start looking at some shorter content too. But shout out to Leezy47, man, for sending that vid they wanted me to check out. Listen, jail. I went. What was I at? Rappahannock Regional Jail in VA. I would say I've heard multiple people say it was one of the worst jails, but obviously nothing compared to out west Alameda, where they got 4,000 people. And as you can see, they definitely got some things going on behind those walls. My takeaway: don't go to jail. I don't. That gave me. It's like it made my nerves, my anxiety go up. I gotta, just watching that. And it's crazy. I watch certain things. I'm not one of the people, but that right there, because it just reminds me so much of how I don't even want to go back to that. I don't want to get involved with the politics. I don't want to get involved with people trying to control things. I don't want to get involved with having to wait. I don't want to have to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing those. That was weird. That was my first one, man. Unique experience. Definitely gonna try to get some other people up here, talk about what we watch and react to it, give their insight. But yeah, that was the first one. I'm gonna go watch, I don't know, maybe some stand-up comedy so I can stop thinking about this stuff. But at the same time, no, we do it for educational purposes. We do it to kind of narrate certain points or from a perspective maybe you haven't heard it from before, man. And of course, we talk about everything, not just prison. Till next time, we're generating content. We're still moving forward, but November 9th is the new launch date for the new and improved, if you could, live interview sessions. I think I will call it. I don't even want to call it a podcast. Live interview sessions. November 9th. We're getting back in. Till then, stay tuned. Stay subscribed. Hit the notification bell. We'll still be hopping up here doing notification vids. And, I'm always posting the short content and other things as well. Shout out to my man, Freddie Williams, NEP1. Currently got, he's starting to put out some content, man. I'm looking forward for him, not just to continue being on this platform, but to really get out there and start doing this thing as well, man. I have been up since 3 a.m. I got about 17 more hours of stuff I got to do on this wonderful Wednesday, aka hump day. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling blessed. I'm focused. Hopefully y'all are too. Thank you for rocking with me for a few minutes, man. Till next time, D100 TV, all live. No script, no rehearsal. Yeah. And wait. Before I forget, shout out to anybody who didn't give up in 2022. Because 2020, I wanted to say that before I got over. Shout out to anybody that didn't give up in 2022. Shout out to anybody that didn't give up in 2021 or 2020. It seems that these 3 years were extremely hard. Not saying that they were the most difficult in anybody's life, but they were hard for a lot of people. A lot of people could have quit, but a lot of people didn't, man. So I just want to say that too, man. Again, peace from yours truly. This is D100 TV. Till next time.